Hi everyone, welcome back to the Shout podcast. We've got a packed episode for you today, so thank you so much for joining us. With so many of our wonderful supporters raising funds for us this summer, we thought we'd focus this episode on a few of those who juggle their firefighting role with some pretty epic sporting challenges. First up, I chat with Mark Peart from South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service. You might remember him from the 2023 London Marathon, where he ran the whole thing in full fire kit and breathing apparatus, all while under air. Just amazing. He shares how he balances that kind of challenge with life as a firefighter. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for joining. I know you're a firefighter yourself with South Yorkshire. So just tell me a little bit about how long you've actually worked in the role and what exactly it is that you do.
I guess a bit of an alternative route. I joined the military first, so I was a firefighter in the RAF in 2008. Then I left there in 2013. I then went into a local regional airport. Worked as a firefighter at a local regional airport for a year. In between then I joined the RDS, so the return duty system, and then I transferred over to all-time as well. So I've kind of done the full shebang fire service, I feel like.
It means that you must love it though. That's a very good sign.
Yeah, so I've recently just changed roles, so I've always been operational, and I've now moved into a kind of ops assurance role, a firefighter safety team. So yeah, it's quite different at the minute. But I'm just adapting to a bit more of a corporate role.
No, variety is the spice after all. Had you always wanted to be a firefighter? Was it something you grew up thinking that you'd do?
Again, it's probably quite sad, but yeah, from probably I was that kid who watched Fireman Sam, and I think ever since then I kind of thought that was something that really appealed to me, and I always wanted to do. And obviously, a real figure we community like as growing up, and I think just always kind of aspired to be part of that, and I still feel really lucky that I get to do it.
I mean, hand in hand with that, and I'll come on to some specific examples of some of the incredible sporting achievements you've done. But had you always had an interest in fitness? Had that always gone hand in hand with the firefighting for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would have kind of always that way going through school, and always kind of more energetic and into doing more practical things. Then I just kind of played football from a young age, and then kind of evolved into running and just general fitness. So yeah, I've always kind of been drawn to it, and then the kind of endurance stuff and challenging yourself.
And a massive challenge came a few years ago when you actually appeared on SAS Who Dares Wins. Is that right? Just tell me a little bit about how that came about.
So this was 2018. Again, it was like kind of something I felt like I stumbled into. So I never watched the show, and he was one of my friends who signed me up for it. Thought I'd be really good at it. I think at the point in time, I was dealing with quite a lot of stuff, and this was quite a good way of like kind of venting it, or it kind of gave me a bit of an objective and something to work towards. So like, in the build up to the show, you're having to do psychometric tests and fitness tests, and you kind of get invited along. So yeah, it just kind of give me a channel, and I had no real intentions of ever kind of going on it. So I kind of, every step I was going through, I'll do this section, but I'm never gonna. If I get through, I'll never go through. And it just kind of kept going. And yeah, then the same friend that when I got the invite, and you kind of don't get told where you're going or anything like that. You get told to turn up at Heathrow Airport at this time, and then you get ushered onto a plane and flown off. And even up to that point, I was still kind of in my head. I was saying I'm not going to go anywhere again.
Total denial. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an amazing experience, and really tough. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of given me a bit of a platform and a bit of a vehicle that I've been able to do some really cool things after, and obviously a lot of stuff for the Firefighters charity, which so I'm really, really, really grateful for it.
Did you find it when you were actually in the process and there, did you find it more challenging than you were expecting it to be?
It was definitely tough. I think for me, the big part of it was like kind of maybe like the inferior complex side of it, because I can remember being at Heathrow Airport and you got a little bit of time to speak to some of the other contestants, and it kind of felt like, everyone were kind of ex-pro this, semi-pro that, and I was thinking, God, I'm just like this lad from Rotherham that does a bit of running, and I thought, what am I doing here? I'm going to embarrass myself. And I think if I'd have had a choice when I was sat on that plane, I think if someone had come in and gone, "Look, you can get up and leave now and go," I'm not saying I would have took that choice, but yeah, I think I was really, really anxious going into it. And then the day before it actually really started, they said, "Oh, we're going to go in," because we were in Chile, so it were at altitude, so we're going to go do a bit of acclimatization. And that turned into like this massive beasting up one of the mountains. But at that point, I think I just got that bit of reassurance that I probably am stronger than I realised I would give myself credit for. And I think a lot of times when people are trying to obviously tell you how good they are at summit, I think that's their own kind of inferior stuff. So I think that bit before kind of gave me that reassurance that I am fit enough, I am strong enough, and I just need to remind myself of that. But yeah, it was really tough. But I think a lot of it, the mental challenges. You're not really aware of what time of day it is. It don't really make any difference anymore. Like they can wake you up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So that's where all the mental side comes in. And I kind of found, I wouldn't say I found a lot of the challenges easy, but I found that I was excelling in a lot of the fitness stuff. So I think the approach then from the like directing staff from Ant Middleton and people like that was to kind of go like kind of at me from like a mental side. So like every day I'd have Ant Middleton basically saying to me, I know you're not trying, you're going home tomorrow, like you're only giving 60%, you're not bothered about that. And so the next day I'd go on, I'm like, right, I'll absolutely kill this then. So I'd go berserk. They wouldn't even speak, they wouldn't even look at me. And then 2 days later they'd go again and be like, "Oh, you're coasting, you're not trying, and tomorrow you're gone, there's no point even trying, like tomorrow don't even worry about it, you're going anyway." And it was just that it was like that psychological stuff, which I think now I appreciate a bit more at the time.
Testing. You went in thinking you're a lad from Rotherham, but you're also a firefighter, and fitness is so important in the role, isn't it? Do you think that really helped you, not just the fitness side, but the mentality of firefighting as well?
Yeah, I think on reflection, definitely. I think especially the maybe ad hoc stuff. So like I said, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, having to get up and perform at an high level. I think that's already kind of embedded into us without us realising, through the job. So, and I think even, it sounds like a bit crazy, but even just like at night, I'd have my clothes prepared so that it's like, as soon as I get up, I know I can get ready and I'll be one of the first ones out, which you kind of saw that a lot of people like struggle with that had probably not had that prior experience. So yeah, it definitely helped. And then, like you said, the fitness side of things, we're kind of there from the foundations of firefighting.
A massive challenge that I'm really excited to talk to you about was one that you did in aid of us in 2023, which was the London Marathon. And you did that not only in full fire kit, but you also did it in breathing apparatus while under air. Just tell me a little bit about that. Where did that idea come from, and how did it go for you on the day?
Yeah, so again, it kind of just... I think everyone thinks it was really well organised and this like kind of project, but the truth is it was kind of thrown together at last minute and it just worked for some reason. So I managed to get a spot in the London Marathon, and I had run it previously, so I was kind of thinking, I should probably do something for charity, so obviously the Firefighters charity is always the first one that comes to mind. And then to obviously just spice it up a bit, I'm like, maybe I should do it in fire kit. And then I managed to get a contact for Guinness World Record. So I spoke to them and I said, I'm thinking of doing it in fire kit, and I'd have a go at doing the world record. And then they come back and like, yeah, well, you have to do it in BA and under air. Is it like the two options you had were either in full kit, no BA, or BA under air? So then I'll investigate this a little bit more. So I managed to round up. They were really good. There were like 12 or 13ers that went down to London. I had people kind of spread out all over London on the course with cylinders ready from interchange. So we kind of worked out that I could do a couple of miles with BA set and then I needed changing. So we went down like typical firefighters, no real plan. We just thought, yeah, it's bound to work. It's just like, then we got to London. We all had this bright orange Ivy's jackets on, with a cylinder on the back. And the first thing that happened was the police stopped them and thought that they were from Just Oil, like protesters. So yeah, so we nearly failed at the first hurdle. And you were quite lucky, really, that happened. So I had no idea this, but I'd already set off running. And yeah, they stopped a couple of them, and basically they explained what it were, and we had the QR code for the donation page, so they showed them that. And yeah, luckily they were really good. They were really understanding. They radioed through to everyone. We didn't have a single problem for the rest of the day. And like I said, it just kind of worked. It was like clockwork. Every 2 miles there was someone there. Yeah, changed the cylinder, then went on again, and it were a real. I think I'll take all the credit for it, but it were a typical fire service, a real team approach, and like some of my friends that were there, and at the end they'd done like 30 miles walking, you know, like, because what we had, yeah, so they were having to, like, we strategically put BA cylinders at fire stations, well, LFB fire stations, so they were having to walk and drop a set, then pick another one up and meet me at another location. And like I said, by the end of it, some of them had done 10, 12, 30 miles. So, yeah, credit to everyone who were there. It was a real, like, team approach kind of thing.
It was obviously a very difficult challenge, I imagine. What was it, do you think, when you were in the more difficult times, that kept you going? Was it just knowing, obviously, that you'd raised as much as you had for the charity, and a bit of a personal challenge as well?
Yeah, I guess all of them. And then obviously you've got this team of people that I was really conscious. I just didn't want to let them down. I'd brought all these people down to London, and I thought, I don't want to bring like 12, 13 of my mates to London, and then we don't get to celebrate it on way back. And yeah, like I said, I think in hindsight, you look back and you'll remember like the good things. It were difficult, it were uncomfortable for long periods of time. But I think knowing that every like 20 minutes I got to see a friend, like that was like, I don't know, that were a massive motivation. And yeah, and because it was like a different person every time, it was like, yeah, it was hilarious. Like when I come running in, and but yeah, we kind of had everything thrown at us on day as well. So we had a lot of rain, which you know, it really affected my vision. So like I couldn't. The mask was fogging up quite a lot, and I had to constantly wipe it. But yeah, then. It was just all part of it, but yeah, it was brilliant. Really, it was brilliant.
I mean, people struggle to get that just running without any weight. Never mind the BAs. So yeah, absolutely amazing. Just for you personally, do you know people that have been supported by the charity at all? Do you have any personal experience of that? And did that mean a lot, knowing you were supporting the charity?
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Penrith. We did an event previously, a cycle. From Land's End to John O'Groats, and that was the first time I'd been to Penrith, and I was kind of blown away by like the facilities and the people and just the general charity in itself. But yeah, I've had colleagues and friends that have utilised the charity, and like it's only good what it does. It's unbelievable. I think we're so lucky that we've got it. When you look at some of the other sectors that don't have that, I think we've all got kind of, you know, we've all got something that we need to keep this alive, and we need to keep raising money for it, and we've kind of got a duty to do that.
That's amazing. And just finally, obviously looking at both sides of your life, so your fitness side and also the firefighting, they both have quite an impact on your body over time, I imagine. Is sort of recovery and looking after your muscles, your joints, that kind of thing, is that really important to you, making sure that you keep on top of that?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely as I'm starting to get a little bit older, I think when you're younger, you just seem to, like made of rubber, you just bounce all over. But yeah, I think more now than ever, and the people that I'm around and talk to, yeah, the rehabilitation and the wellbeing side of it is equally just as important than the recovery stuff.
Do you think it's a bit of reassurance for you in the future, should you ever need the charity support, knowing that is there for you?
To know that it is actually there, that you don't have to be kind of at your final straw. That it's there to support you in loads of different ways, and it's not all about you have to go and visit the charity. There's so many people you can speak to, and for me, I think it's always kind of the first place I'd point people towards. If we can't deal with a real local level, I think you'd always push people to speak to someone from the charity. And I think that is embedded, to be honest with you, in the fire service. I think people are fully aware of that.
That's music to my ears. That's good. That's really good to hear, because like you say, it's not just when you have that need, it's kind of before that. It's to prevent that need ever arising. Hopefully we've got so much online support and remote support as well. So that's really good to highlight that as well. Anything planned next, Mark, at all? Any challenges outside of work?
Yes, a few running events. So we're doing Chicago Marathon in a few weeks. Then I have just signed up for next year for a 330 kilometre race next year in October in South Africa. But yeah, I'm hoping to. I always try to do like at least one decent thing that's for Firefighters charity every year if I can. So yeah, I have a couple of ideas, so we'll see what comes to fruition.
Oh, no, that's amazing. What a lovely attitude towards it. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining me and for sharing that. That's been brilliant to hear. You can find a link to a story we did with Mark following his marathon effort in the show notes. Next, I caught up with Teresa Waplington from Gloucestershire Fire and Rescue Service. Teresa's not only smashing firefighter challenges across the UK, but she also got a podium finish at European Games recently. And she's the brains behind fundraisers that bring in incredible support for us. Thank you so much, Teresa, for joining us. Just tell me a little bit about you and how long you've been a firefighter in Gloucestershire for now.
So I've been an on-call firefighter for 5 years, and the whole time since June, so not very long. It wasn't planned at all. I actually went for a coffee with a friend who wanted to be on call, and I somehow got the phone call to go along for the testing, so I did, and here we are.
Good, that's what we like to hear. How are you finding the whole-time role alongside the on-call?
Yeah, it's different. I've been self-employed for a long time, so working for someone again is different. But as on-call, I just try and keep them separate. So you do your hours when you're not at work and then respond when you're at home.
How have you found kind of the juggling act of on-call work in particular with home life and like keeping up with your hobbies and family and that kind of thing?
I mean, it can be tricky because you can only have... You've got to give them so many hours. So even wanting to take a bath, for example, you have to book off. So it can be difficult, but you kind of make it work. I try to do a lot more cover in the daytime when they need it the most. Not always can you be available, but most of the time, yeah.
I've never even thought about that. Literally having to take time for a bath. Yeah, that just shows the reality of it, doesn't it, really? Firefighting is such a sort of physically demanding role, and I know you're really into your fitness yourself. Did that kind of attract you to the role as well, knowing that that was incorporated in it?
I wouldn't say everybody does the fitness in fire. I'd like to see more of them do it. I think you do all the fitness to get in, and then I guess you're left to yourself to do some bits, but it doesn't appeal to everyone. Like, not everybody goes to the gym or keeps up with their physio. So it's one of those, you're either into it or not. But yeah, I mean, for fire, I've got into the firefighter games and all of those things. So what appealed a lot for me was all the charity work that I do in my own time, whether it's for MND or third world countries. I actually donate my on-call money to a third world charity, always have done for 5 years. So I do quite a lot for charity, and I guess that's the fitness side that comes with it. It means I get to do something enjoyable while raising money, so it works for me.
Massive difference, absolutely huge. Have you sort of seen the difference that our charity in particular makes to your colleagues of it? Do you know people that have had our support?
Yeah, so there's one gentleman who's on call with myself. So he came to you when he was needing it the most. He was struggling in himself. And then there's a few colleagues that have had maybe back conditions that they've come down to have help with. And I believe there's one that's on the whole time watch with me who's due to join you soon. So yeah, you'll see her soon.
Fantastic. I think just seeing the difference that those funds can make when you're so hard at work organising these fundraisers is fantastic. I'm going to come on to ask you a bit about these sporting challenges in particular in a second, but how do you find kind of juggling busy shifts and the role itself with sort of training for those? Do you have a schedule that you stick to or anything?
It can be difficult because when you are, say, 9 till 6, you finish at 6, but if a call comes in prior to you finishing, you attend, and that can make you late. So sometimes it can eat in your own time. You can't always get the time to train, even though you've got a schedule to do and you know that you need to kind of be on your game to go across and compete against some of the best. And you don't want to let yourself down, but you also can't always make it. So I try to juggle it that I'll get it done. I'll get up at 5 a.m. and go in the gym while everybody's still asleep as such. And then, if we get time, we get 45 minutes as part of your duty to have gym time. Obviously, can't always have that if shouts come in, but if we have the opportunity to do a little train, we will. So, yeah, most of it's in my own time. But if I can get a little bit out of some shifts, if people are asleep or they don't mind me doing it in my lunch break, then I'll go and do it.
And is it kind of primarily gym work for you, or what kind of things do you do when it comes to training?
We go out in the yard as well as in the gym. So it'll be full kit, sometimes underwear, wearing BA sets or weighted vests, trying to sort of do everything that is worst case scenario so that when you get to the event, things feel a lot lighter. So it's a mixture of kind of circuits outside and training technique for some of the games that you go to, because they're all different, as well as when you're in the gym, maybe strength training and trying to utilize their equipment as best you can to accommodate the movements that we'll do in the event.
Totally understood. Tell me a little bit about what are the games, in a nutshell. What kind of things would you be challenged to do in these games, and are they all over the UK?
We've got many throughout the UK. So it started off with just the one, and then it's evolved to about 8 or 9. And they all vary what they are about. So if you took the British Firefighter challenge, this is based on, say, a person's reported 3-story house fire. So every firefighter should be able to complete it. It's timed, you get 6 minutes, but what the most enjoyable part of it is seeing people come along and have a go. And even if they don't make the 6 minutes, they come back next year and they maybe do, or they get a better time. But every firefighter in any brigade should be able to complete it. It's what we do for a living. It's sort of bread and butter, being able to haul equipment aloft, run up ladders, put them up, and pull people out of buildings. So hopefully, yes. And some of the other ones have a little bit of RTC stuff in, so road traffic collisions. So it's lifting and moving equipment, and hopefully things that we're all capable of doing. So it kind of inspires people, I think, to come along, have a go, socialise with other people, and realise that they're very capable of it, even if they're a bit nervous going the first time.
And I guess, does it inspire a bit of healthy competition as well, which I know firefighters love?
Yeah, it very much does. There are some competitive characters out there.
I can imagine. And I know you then went on, didn't you? I'm not sure if it was this year or last year, to do the European Firefighters Challenge. Tell me a bit about what was involved there.
Yeah, we went out to Hungary to compete in the European Championship. There was 5 of us, 2 guys from a different brigade, and then myself, Amy, and Sam from Gloucestershire. Sam managed to race a phenomenal race. I don't know how he did it that fast, but his mindset is so strong. So he did a phenomenal time. Myself and Amy came 3rd to the podium for Britain on that was the tandem. So it was a 2-person event. And then I managed to get a 3rd place for my age bracket, which was hard work because I was very much against the European champion for about 6 years on the trot, and I thought I was going to die.
I mean, it sounds hard, yeah. So, I mean, that's incredible. What an achievement. What kind of keeps you going in the really, really difficult parts? Is it sort of remembering your teammates, remembering why you're doing it?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in it, I can't see or hear anything or anyone. You're just in it. But leading up to it, it's the money you raise and the people that you help with it. So that's why we do it. We've always done really well in the British Fire Challenge with consecutive years of fundraising the most money, especially for Gloucestershire. It's probably the 4th year running that we've raised the most, and we all do it for that no matter what time we get. It's always nice to make the podium, and if you don't make it, it's okay. You see what good it does anyway, so it's why we do it.
I know a lot of people find, and it doesn't matter what level you're competing at, yours is obviously a much higher level, but at any level they can find a lot of mental wellbeing benefits in fitness. Do you find that yourself, particularly around work, if it's been a bit difficult?
Yeah, I've always used fitness as probably my scapegoat. You can go in the gym, put your earphones in and just switch off. And I find that I'll do that quite a lot, even if you just get up on the treadmill and have a walk. And it does do an awful lot of stimulation for that. So for me, it's a kind of that escape route. I do deal with my problems, but I think that's my way of taking myself out of this scenario that you've had that day if you've had something bad.
Now, aside from the firefighter games, I know you did a challenge recently, and this would be my worst nightmare, which was a Burpees challenge. And I think you inspired a lot of people from across the UK to join in on this. And it was particularly meaningful, I know, wasn't it? Because it was in memory of Martyn, Sadler and Jennie, Logan, who we very sadly lost this year. Can you just tell me a little bit about what inspired that for you and how it all went?
Yeah, so first I wanted to do something to, honour them really, because we are a big knit family. Whether we know each other or not, we support each other, we back each other up, and, to lose 2 of your own isn't great. And then we have to learn, unfortunately, from their mistakes to save us from going through that ourselves. So it's always sad to lose someone. And we decided to take on a mile of burpees each. I initially kept it quite small, and then people wanted to be involved. So it grew and grew and grew. And we made it a challenge to achieve over 100 miles of burpees as a collective team. So I spoke to numerous brigades. So we had Helena from Manchester and Martyn in Germany, and then the Estonia guys, some of the Welsh boys, and various places, Hungary, Austria got involved, and they were just sending me their videos of them doing, which looks like some crazy stuff they were doing. I think it was the Germany guys. They had a rocky path that looked uphill in the forest, doing a mile of burpees. Really happy. I was like, are you so happy? So we ended up doing 100 miles, 107. We raised so far £6,335, which will come across to you shortly. It's not closed off yet, but it's coming. And everybody got involved, and they wanted to support this sort of challenge that we had, and to honour them, because I'm sure they would do the same for us.
That's really inspirational for anyone else thinking of doing a fundraiser like that. Certainly in memory ones can be a lovely way to bring people together, I think. And do you think that is a key element, certainly with the challenges that you've done yourself, bringing kind of the firefighting community together, and perhaps even public supporters as well?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many people that came to say, like, the Burpee Challenge, and they were non-firefighters as well as firefighters, and firefighters from around the globe as such. But when you come across to say the British Firefighter Challenge or the European Championships, you're meeting so many different people from so many different backgrounds, and then I think it's just one massive sort of social gathering where people can communicate with each other. And I've made a lot of friends from it. Some of them recently, I met a lady called Detty. She's come from Hungary, and in Hungary, you're not allowed to be a female firefighter. So she's now joined Gloucestershire. Yeah, she's become whole time, and she is so excited. She is like a ball of joy. But she is one of those people that wants to support people, help their mental health, and she'll go a long way. And hopefully we can support her with it. But it's nice to have that sort of network and that family sort of environment, which is hard in the job you do. So it's nice to have it from everybody and from different brigades and all around the world. It's nice.
Just on that, actually, I was going to ask you as well, if, say, a young woman was listening today who's maybe thinking about joining the fire service or taking on a charity challenge, whether they're in the fire service or not, what advice would you give them? Would you sort of say, go for it? What were those early steps for you?
With Gloucestershire, they've come a long way. They've got so many females now that are joining and literally thriving in the service. And I think maybe as a female, they've been afraid to do that in the past because it's been that male environment. But no, I mean, the guys are really supportive. The girls that we've got on board are enjoying it, or they seem to enjoy it, and they just get on like house on fire. So it's nice because, say, like for someone like Detty, who never thought that would be possible, she's come along and suddenly realised that she can do it. She's made lots of friends, and she's just loving it. So yeah, I would say go for it. You know, if you're a female and you're ever worried about joining the fire service, don't be. All the other females that are in there, you can talk to us. We can help you through it and guide you through the process, and hopefully see you soon.
No, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And just sort of finally, what would you say your sort of proudest moment has been, whether that's in uniform, in sport, or through your fundraising?
Proudest moment is, for me, because of all the charity work, I think it's seeing everybody actually come together, because you never expect it, and you think you do some of these things and, you know, you get one or two people that's maybe a yes or maybe a no. And then, like the Burpee challenge, seeing the amount of people come along to support, and they didn't have to. Yeah, for me, I'd say I was proud of them for coming and doing it, because I mean, it's an horrific ask of please do a mile of burpees and be sore for a week. But they came along and yeah, they did it for me, which is, for me, it's they're very inspiring, and they did make me proud. So yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the charity. It makes such a difference. If you fancy taking on a fundraising challenge in aid of us, either on your own or as part of a team, you can find links to get you started and contact details for your local fundraiser in the show notes. Now, meet Mark Baxter, Chief Fire Officer at Lincolnshire Fire and Rescue Service. He's recently started training for next year's London Marathon as part of his Chief's Challenge, and he talks about why fundraising and inspiring his team to get involved really matters to him. Could I just actually start by asking you a little bit about yourself? So when you first started with Lincolnshire Fire and Rescue Service, and were you whole time at the start, or were you on call?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I've been with Lincolnshire Fire and Rescue, it was Lincolnshire Fire Brigade when I first joined, for about just over 33 years. I joined as an on-call firefighter. So I spent a couple of years with my on-call colleagues, and then I joined whole-time in 1994. So yeah, I spent all my career in Lincolnshire. I'm born and bred a Lincolnshire lad, so I'm very proud of the county of Lincolnshire, yeah, and enormously proud to be able to be in the position to lead the service that I joined many years ago.
Had it always been a dream of yours to kind of climb that ladder and to get into a leadership role, or did that develop over time?
I think it's fair. It developed over time, to be honest with you. I mean, I was pretty much the same as most people that joined the fire service. I just wanted to enjoy being a firefighter. I wanted to serve the community. I enjoyed every minute of riding fire engines and working with alongside my colleagues on stations. And then I realised how much more there was to offer being within the fire service, and it kind of grew from there really, and I just took it one step at a time really, and I will say this, I've always been fortunate. I've enjoyed every single role that I've worked in with the service, so yeah, I've just continued my journey that way.
What an incredible thing to say about your job, hey? That you've enjoyed every role. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we take for granted sometimes within the fire service, that we are in a great organisation, and the fire sector does so many wonderful things across the communities. But I think that kind of links into, we're only able to do amazing things if we've got all the right resources and when we're being able to be looked after, and we've got support like great organisations like the Firefighters charity.
That's amazing. And do you think it's something that you've known throughout your career, the importance of actually looking after your well-being? And has that grown as you've found out more about the charity?
I think it's definitely grown, absolutely. And the more I've got to learn about the importance of well-being and support, it becomes so clear and obvious what a critical role it was. I mean, when I joined, again, I joined the service over 30 years ago. When I was a firefighter on the watch, even at those stages, I was the Firefighter Charities rep. I think it was a benevolent fund at that time. So I've always been linked in regards to the charity, and always understood the valuable support and the offering it has. But I think as we've learned more about the importance of physical and mental support and rehabilitation, it's great that actually the Firefighter charity has evolved and grown with that same level of need. And I think it's just grown as a partnership brilliantly.
Obviously, involvement as a rep early on is fantastic. So you will have known a lot to spread the awareness with your colleagues. Have you seen people supported by us, people around you and your colleagues? And have you seen the impact that can have?
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's probably hundreds of people that through my career that I've seen in some way, shape, or form have used the tailored support of the Ben Fund and the Firefighter charity as it is and has been mainly called. I can absolutely, a shadow of doubt, it's gone through bringing people back to work earlier than what they ever would have. I've seen it when it's actually prevented people from being off work in the first place because they've had the access and support in what they've needed, to the nth degree where it really has changed people's lives and giving them support where they wouldn't have been able to get from anywhere else. So, without a shadow of a doubt, it has made real, tangible positive impacts, and many people who are not just operational, but the families of our personnel and non-operational staff as well. It really looks after the fire family, and can't underplay that. It really is a service for everyone.
Yeah, really, really powerful, and massively important for us to spread that word as well, that it's there for everyone. You have obviously done a lot of fundraising as well, I'm sure, throughout your career in your positions as station rep and all the way through to where you are now. Just recently, I know you've announced that you're going to be running the 2026 London Marathon in aid of us as part of your Chiefs Challenge. Can you just tell me a little bit about what inspired that for you?
So a Chief Challenge, we like to do a Chief Challenge as often as we can, because I think it shows the level of support that we have across the service, and we look at different and innovative ways how we can really highlight the charity and do something which is going to be a real challenge. I think things that we've done in the past, I remember being involved a few years ago where we had to roll out, I think it was over about 700 metres of hose, and we was doing it on every station to try and get that buy-in, and I said, yeah, that'd be a great thing to be involved in. not realising it's been many years since I've rolled out hose, and it's got a lot more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be. And we've done other challenges where I've been part of a team where we've climbed the 3 peaks of the UK, but we cycled in between them as well. So we climbed in Nevis and then cycled to Scotland Pike, and then we then cycled through to Snowdon as well. So again, we like to do something that's going to create an interest and raise the awareness. So I suppose going to the London Marathon part, why am I doing it now? It's something that I've always wanted to do, is a marathon, because I've never run a marathon, and it's almost... Yeah, no, I haven't. It's always going to be one of those bucket list things to do. And if I was ever going to do one, why not do the London Marathon? Probably the best marathon in the world. And I think there's an element where I'm coming to an age where it's getting more and more harder. So if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. So I'm going to be 53 by the time the marathon comes round. So I thought, well, just go for it. Just put it out there, because once you start putting something out there and you make the commitment and people get to know about it, there is no stepping back. And so I'm at that position now. So I've made that commitment that I'm going to run it, and so I'm really now in the position of trying to work through that preparation and that training, which I think it's fair to say that element of it is probably going to be as hard or harder than the actual running of the marathon, which I probably didn't appreciate when I first signed up.
Talk me through your training plan. How is it going, and how are you actually juggling that with your day-to-day role? Like you said, are you trying to do little and often, or how's that working?
So I'm starting to build up. So I feel like I'm in the position where I'm just almost trying to build the base level of just trying to get the miles in that I can, just to get my legs used to running more often and for longer distances. But also I'm trying to balance that. I'm just trying to get the muscle memory and also learning that I probably need to do a little bit more stretching and a little bit more warming down and warming up, because my muscles are not as flexible as they probably used to be when I was 25. So I'm really conscious about that. So I'm really in that position where I'm building the miles at the moment. But if you speak to me again in the middle of January and it's a cold and wet 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning and it's snowing and hailing, I may not be enjoying it as much.
There will be tough moments, not just on the race itself, but even in these training runs where it just feels a little bit harder halfway through, maybe. What do you think it will be that just keeps you motivated in those moments during that run? The
single thing that, if I'm honest, what is the single thing that really will get me out of bed? And if I can raise more awareness, and if I can signpost people, and if I can get them to understand what support the Firefight charity can give, and if that one person picks up that phone and that one person accesses it, and that will change their life, to be honest, that's immeasurable. And that's generally what the Firefighter charity does offer. And if somebody, by raising the awareness, now understands how they can get that support and use that support, for me, that's a win. And that's going to change people's lives. And it's changing people who are dedicated to the communities that we serve, our fire family. So they give enough to their communities. They need something that they can be able to get support when they need it. So if me, by doing this small thing, can raise some much needed funds, can raise the awareness, and somebody is going to get access to that support where they didn't know they could have it, then yeah, that's what's going to get me out of bed in the morning.
That's incredible. Really, really nicely put. And do you think it's quite a nice feeling as well, and important to you, essentially, that you are spreading the word about the services that are available to your colleagues right across the service?
It absolutely is, and I think it's really trying to understand it. Actually, this is a partnership. This is the Firefighter charity and the fire sector. We're together in this, and I think that's people's raising that understanding. And when I go and I see stations and I go and visit people and I speak about what I do, the Firefighter charity is always in that conversation. Because it just needs to be the normal conversation about how we work together, not something that people have just heard about but don't really understand what they can offer. We've moved huge amounts since since then. And actually, people do really understand now what the firefighter charity is about, and what more the firefighter charity is doing for us. So yeah, every conversation I am with my staff, the firefighter charity isn't far away from it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Just sort of finally, is it also important to you to kind of inspire younger, for example, fire cadets that are coming into the fire service to do fundraising challenges, but also to do like sporting achievements and things like this for their well-being?
No, absolutely. So I've been the National Lead for Fire Cadets, and I've now taken over the National Lead for Children and Young People and handed over the reins at Fire Cadets. But my work with the Fire Cadets across the country is one of the most proudest pieces of work that I'm involved in, and it is about the development of our young people coming through, and I'm really pleased to see the work and the commitment and the evolution of the firefighter charity about the offer of support they're now giving our fire cadets, because they are young people. It's difficult being a young person in this day and age, and they have levels of pressure upon them, which I can only imagine what it's like growing up in today's society. So to have a place to go through the Fire Cadets programme, which absolutely gives an awful lot of support, development for our young people. But within that programme, to also have that added support of the Firefighters charity is absolutely immeasurable.
And just finally, have you got any kind of other challenges or any other hobbies that you're pursuing in your spare time, or is the marathon probably enough for 1 year?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the moment it's pretty much going to consume everything else that I'm going to be doing. So I'm either going to be working, walking the dog, marathon training, or basically taking my children to whichever club they're doing on whatever night they're doing as well.
That's more than enough. Absolutely more than enough. Thank you so much, Mark. And to round things off, I'm joined by Andy Mitchell from Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service, who you might just recognise from the TV show Gladiators. Andy chats about what pushed him to take part and why physical and mental fitness challenges are so important to him. Can you just start by telling us what your role is in the fire service and how long you've actually been doing it for?
So I've been in the fire service 18 and a half years now, and I've reached the grand high ranks of a firefighter, and that's the rank I plan to stay for my career, as I love doing the job itself. And I'm based at Winchester Fire Station, which is part of Hampshire Fire Rescue Service, and we operate a 24-hour self-rostering shift pattern there at Winchester, as opposed to the conventional 224, which is what I was used to back in Southampton, which was my previous station.
Brilliant. So you mentioned that you really enjoy the job. Was it something you would always wanted to do when you were growing up, or did it kind of come upon you?
Funny enough, actually, that's one of the questions I get asked regularly. Is that your dream job? Have you always wanted to do it? And unfortunately, no. My dream job when I was younger was to be a soldier. That's what I wanted to be, running around with the garden with a stick in my hand, pretending it's throwing stones, pretending they're grenades. And that is actually what I did. I left school after my GCSEs, and then I joined the army and spent 7.5 years in the army before then joining the fire service. So the fire service is a dream job, and I love it, and I wouldn't wish to do anything else now.
No, that's amazing. It kind of takes me on to my next question, actually, where your passion for sport and fitness first began. Do you think that was probably when you were in the army, before your time in the fire service?
No, I think my passion for fitness and strength was way before the army, and that's the reason why I wanted to join the army. So when I was younger, 12, 13, 14, I was really into my athletics. I loved boxing. I was really into skipping. I've always done a lot of sport, a lot of exercise. And it was when I became a sort of a teenager at sort of 15, 16 years old, I was thinking, after my schooling, what job can I do? And what do I love more than anything is keeping fit, being strong. And I thought the army is the best role for me to be paid, to be fit, essentially, really. So no, I actually went into the army because I enjoyed my fitness, because I enjoyed my strength training, and that's been with me ever since I can remember, really, to be honest.
It's kind of a natural progression in some ways. And I know certainly as a firefighter, fitness is so important, and you've got to keep a certain level of fitness for the job anyway. Do you think that kind of goes hand in hand as your career has progressed as well?
Yes, definitely. So I've now just turned 40, actually. So I'm now starting to feel the sort of the midlife aches and pains and not quite as fit and robust as I used to be. So no, and obviously I'm on the new 40-year pension scheme now, so I'm going to be a firefighter well into my 60s now. So I understand and appreciate how I do need to keep fit and strong to stay in this career up into my 60s, essentially, because it is quite a physically taxing job, especially if you're wearing full fire kit, breathing apparatus set in your back, you're carrying a couple of bits of equipment, you've got to run up and down some high-rise building stairs to get to the fire floor. It is a very hard job, and yeah, you need to be fit, and I'm hoping to keep my fitness going as long as I possibly can, really.
And what does fitness look like for you on a sort of a typical week? What is it that you're really into? Is it gym work or is it outside at all?
So yeah, when I'm on shift at the fire station, like everyone has a gym. So at the fire station, it's conventional sort of lifting and shifting weight in the gym sort of thing, with some like rowing and running thrown in there as well. When I'm not at the fire station, I'm a member of a CrossFit gym. So again, it's still sort of lifting, shifting weight, but more CrossFit, EMON, AMRAP sort of orientated, with gymnastics thrown in there as well. I also do high rocks as well, which involves a lot of running and grunt work and stuff. And the other two things I do quite regularly is swimming and basketball. I'm in a basketball team as well. So swimming, basketball, gym-based stuff, CrossFit is essentially what keeps me busy 5 days a week, 6 days a week sometimes.
Do you find that there's obviously the physical benefits are fairly obvious with that amount of exercise, but do you find that there's some mental well-being benefits for you as well that comes from that outside of the job?
Oh, 100%. Yes, definitely. I can tell if there's been a time when I haven't been able to do fitness for whatever reason, childcare related, busy with a part-time work and stuff, and I can really feel not aggression, but I can feel sort of pent up frustration and annoyance, and you just want to get it out of you. And fitness is the best way to release everything, get all the endorphins flowing through the body and stuff naturally. And yeah, I can feel if I haven't done anything for a while, I get itchy feet and stuff, and I want to get moving and I want to start sweating again and stuff like that. So it clears your mind. It makes you feel more relaxed afterwards. And I really enjoy it, and there's so many benefits to it for everyone involved, really.
Now, I can't not touch on this. It kind of culminated in an incredible appearance in the TV show Gladiators. Just tell me a little bit about that opportunity, how it came about and how it progressed.
So it was a bit unintentional, really. So obviously I'm 40 years old. So back in the 90s, when the original Gladiators was on, I was 8 and 9 years old watching the original Gladiators with like Wolf and Jet and Hunter and all that sort of stuff. And obviously I loved it. You know, Saturday night, sat on the couch watching TV with your parents. You couldn't like download it or stream it. You had to watch it live and stuff. So we all gathered around the couch to watch Gladiators on Saturday night and stuff. But I've got 2 daughters. My eldest is 8 years old. And myself and my 2 children, we watched the first initial series of the brand new Gladiators, which was filmed last year. And basically, it was their love for it. They were like, Daddy, it's Gladiators, Daddy, it's Gladiators. And they were like shouting out the names of the Gladiators on TV, and they were like booing and hissing, and they would just get involved. And I could just see myself in them as an 8-year-old watching Gladiators the first time. So they loved it. They enjoyed it. They were looking forward to Gladiators on a Saturday night, watching it at home and stuff. And I was basically sat on the sofa with a girl under each arm watching it. And I was literally thinking to myself, I could do that. Like, you know, I'm reasonably fit, I'm reasonably strong. I'm watching them thinking, yeah, I could do that. I'll give it a bash. And how amazing would it be for my children to like come up to Sheffield Arena and be in the audience and watch it and be involved in it. And it's a lifetime opportunity. Money can't buy experience. It's just an incredible opportunity for my children to witness their dad being on it, and for me to also physically being on Gladiators, because, you know, how many people can say they've been on Gladiators? Only a handful of people, essentially. So I just thought, after watching the last series, I will apply to join the show. And it was quite a long process. It was sort of 6-7 months between applying and actually getting on, well, going up to Sheffield on the July for the recording stuff. But yeah, so there was a long process to get into it, but that was essentially it, really. It was for my children and an opportunity for myself, and that's why I applied for it.
Amazing. What was it like that first time walking onto that set as a firefighter, stepping onto a TV show that's watched by millions of people?
Surreal is probably the best word to describe it. You're in an arena with thousands and thousands of people there, all the bright lights, all the cameras, and Bradley Walsh and Barney Walsh, and obviously backstage all the Gladiators as well, who you've been watching in the previous series. It's a blur. It's an amazing experience. It's great fun, slightly nerve-wracking, but surreal, I think, would be the overall experience of initially going into the arena floor, to be fair. Yeah,
I can imagine it was. Did any part of your, or all of your fire service training come in handy for the events, as part of Gladiators?
I actually had a couple of Olympic rings set up at work at the fire station, and prior to going up to Sheffield, I was swinging on the rings quite a lot, because you never know if you're going to get hang tough or not, but luckily I did get hang tough. So that sort of the swing on the rings at the fire station came into play. I did a lot of farmers walk at the fire station, so with kettlebells or foam canister drums. I'll be doing a lot of farmers walks to improve the grip strength, because a lot of the wall and hang tough is quite grip strength oriented. And I suppose the day-to-day training at the fire station, my usual cardiovascular training, helped me reach a certain level of fitness to participate in Gladiators. So the day-to-day training at the fire station did help me when I went up there, for sure.
As well as Gladiators, and away from that, have you kind of taken on any, whether they're fundraisers or any challenges in your spare time in aid of the charity at all?
So in these sort of nearly 19 years I've been in the fire service, I've lost count. I must have done at least a minimum of 15 separate fire station car washes. So every sort of September, a fire station car wash, and all the proceeds go to the Firefighters charity. And also, when I passed out of my basic training at Eastleigh, in Hampshire, we did a sponsored ladder climb. I think it was the height of Everest. So between us recruits who just passed out, we had a 135 ladder set up onto some scaffolding, and between us we climbed until we reached the height of Everest. And again, that was at an Asda superstore, so we had lots and lots of oncomers coming to watch us and support and donate, and all of the proceeds to that went to the Firefighters charity as well.
Amazing. And have you actually had support from the charity yourself? Have you seen where those funds go and the difference that they make?
Yes. So once. So in 2019, 2020, I was coincidentally actually on my motorbike driving to Southampton Fire Station, where I was back then, for my second day shift, and I got knocked over by a car. So a car went into me, sent me into central reservation, and I got blue light to hospital, and I had some shoulder issues and some broken ribs and broken clavicle and stuff. So I was actually off work for 3 months after my operation and after some rehab, and until I could basically move again and stuff. And when I was slightly better, I actually went to Marine Court in Littlehampton for 5 days. And I was there getting quite intensive physiotherapy on my shoulder, on my back and stuff. And I did all the hot water aqua training. And yes, I was there for 5 days getting myself fitter, stronger, building the muscles back up on my shoulder, ready to go back on operational duties.
Do you think that did actually sort of help you and speed up that process to getting you back on the run?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because I was trying to do as much as I could do at home, but unless you're at a centre getting intensive physiotherapy twice a day, every day, I don't think I would have made the progress that I would have done had I just been at home doing my own bandage stretches and stuff like that. I think being there, just focusing on rehab for 5 days with all the kit and equipment there and the specialist knowledge that they had there, really definitely made a difference to get me back on the run much quicker.
Do you think, from your own personal experience then, do you think it's now important for you just to spread the word a little bit to your colleagues, whether that's in your station or right around the UK, about the importance of taking on challenges, taking on fundraisers, just to raise that money for the charity?
Yes, absolutely, because obviously it would not take place if the money wasn't there. And the only way the money gets there is through charitable donations. So, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of firefighters across the country, and people are going to need help and assistance throughout their career. I mean, I've only needed it the once after my motorbike crash, but I'm sure lots of other people are going to pick up injuries and throughout their career, especially as we have a more of an aging population within the fire service. So people are more than likely going to need help, going to need assistance at some point throughout their career.
If you would just have sort of a final message to any other firefighters or anyone else working in the fire service who might have sporting ambitions, might have a hobby outside of work, just to pursue that in their spare time, and how important it is for them to be looking at that alongside their career.
We, as firefighters, are very, very, very lucky in the fact that we have the ability to train at work. We do have a designated PT hour every day sort of thing, whereas most people who work in an office don't have that opportunity. So we have no excuse not to use our PT hour to get fitter, to get stronger, to get ourselves ready for any activity that we do on our days off or our time away from work and stuff. There's so much possibility out there in people's chosen sports as well. You might have some incredible like taekwondo athletes in the fire service, and we have the ability to train at work, to get fit, get strong, and fitness in general is so good for everyone. So yeah, I essentially say to everyone, get involved in something, pursue your hobbies, pursue your dreams. I mean, I never thought I'd get on Gladiators. I thought I'd apply for it, see what happens, but I did manage to get onto the show, which I'm very lucky. In fact, when we went up to Sheffield, and we had one of our first meetings with the production crew and casting crew and stuff, they sat us down and said, look, firstly, congratulations, 30,000 people applied to be on this show this year, and you're the 20 people. You're the 20 people who've got through. So to get into the show, let alone being involved in it, is quite a big achievement. But you don't know unless you try. And one of my biggest quotes in life is, if you don't ask, you don't get. So if you're not going to apply for Gladiators, you're not going to get onto Gladiators. If you're not going to enter a CrossFit competition, you're not going to win a CrossFit competition. So you've got to get involved. You've got to get amongst it. You've got to commit yourself. And there's so many possibilities that can result of competing in any forms of competitions.
Thank you so much to Mark, Teresa, Mark and Andy for sharing their stories. I think we can all agree they're superstars. If you'd like to get involved yourself, whether it's through fundraising, events or challenges, all the links are waiting for you in the show notes. And if you've got your own experience to share, you'll also find details on how to reach us there. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Shout podcast.